Hello there, welcome back. This is another extra video. It's not part of my main videos. It's Out One again, episodes 5 and 6. Now I'm almost through Out One, the long version of Out One. I've only got 7 and 8 to go, and they're kind of shorter than others. So one's an hour and a half and one's like an hour 10, so the last one shouldn't take me that long to watch because it's the short end really, compared to what's come before. So Out, as I've stated before, this like long French film made by Jacques Rivette in the 70s. It was cut down to Spectre, Out Spectre. It was 4 hours long. So I'm now very curious to see what was cut out and what was kept from Out Spectre, because at this point I have no idea what you could cut out of this. You know, it doesn't make any sense. So I'll be curious to watch that. I won't be watching it straight away after I've seen this, but I'll be watching it at some point. But Out One, chapters 5 and 6, move into much more of a mystery direction and less towards the theatre. There's still theatre pieces in there, but before they seem to take up like half the running time, and now they take up just short bits of the running time. It's much more about people practicing the theatre groups and what they're about and why they're doing what they're doing. It's much more about that. It's much more about conspiracy theories and what conspiracy theories mean to people and why they're driven towards conspiracy theories. So you've got lots of characters floating around, all the same characters. You've got the two groups, the Seven versus Thebes and the Prometheus group. They're both still in circulation. The Seven versus Thebes group I'll start with. At the end of the last video I said that new guy came in and he had a very different approach to the theatre piece. As we start this one, he's becoming much more involved, he's becoming much more important to them. He's suggesting lighting things that would actually make it more visual and make it much more of a piece that would get interest from other people and would be much more less interesting. And it's energising all these actors who feel that this is the direction they should be going in, because I think they're starting to feel as if they were getting stalled with the old approach. The person in charge, the woman in red hair, Lily, she still doesn't like him, she doesn't like him. She's starting to lose her interest because she's no longer centre of attention. But before that can really hit the fan, before that can really get resolved, the older guy, Quentin, comes in and said he's won a lot of money on horse racing, a bet, which would give them the money to actually put the show on. But before, I thought they weren't putting the show on because they didn't want to. It was a private thing, it was just a practice, and now it seems they don't have the money to put the show on, apparently. I'll get to that in a minute. The money's been stolen by this guy, Renard, who just walked, once Quentin brought it in, they were all celebrating, then suddenly they looked around, he wasn't there, and neither was the money. So suddenly they're like, well, that's all their money gone, there's no way they can put the show on now. So they start looking for him. And as it goes from episode 5 to 6, you see him going around the streets, because about a photograph of him, and have you seen this man, do you know who he is? And you see him going through different streets, and people do different things. Some are passionate trying to get him found, some are much more distant. And one like Quentin seems to be, because the thing that won him the money was all these weird codes he'd done using members' information. He's doing this weird, as if he's almost like trying to tempt fate to give them the information rather than trying to search directly. It's almost like he's using weird conspiracy ideas, like walking from bit to that bit, not asking about anybody, just focus on what he's about. And it's very strange and very interesting to watch. It's like, is he going mad, or has he just lost interest, or does he think this will work? Like the universe will see what he's doing and point him in the right direction. It's fascinating, but you can't quite work out what he's doing. The other ones, one of the ones, the one that was knitting a lot, she's much more passionate up to people with trucks and asking them, we've seen this man. It seems like she's really into the group and what it can do for her. And there's a variety of people doing different things. they all try to find this man, and it goes nowhere. No matter what they do, they cannot find him. And Lily seemed to be least interested as she throws away the photograph at some point. She just lost all interest apparently. So there's differences in the group. But at a certain point you realise they're not going to find him. They're just not going to find him. So most of these 2 episodes are actually about them, their rise, then their quick fall. And by the end of episode 6 they've dissolved completely. It's like they've lost all interest. Lily seems to have disappeared. And Quentin's gone to the other group. And everyone else just seems to have moved away from each other. It's like they had a chance to put it on. As soon as that fell apart, they tried for a bit, then there's nothing, there's no fight left in them. They're just not going to find this guy. He stole their money. He's gone. But just watching them interact with the people of Paris, you see how much, you see like almost the performer selves as they interact, and it's almost like, well, how much is acting and how much is reality, and do they know the difference? And that kind of starts to come through as they interact with people, because they're so theatrical, even though they're asking questions, and they're trying to behave normally and say, can you do this person? But it's almost like, look at me, I'm an actor at the same time. Anyone who's dealt with actors knows that element, where they can't quite turn it off. And you just see them sort of lose their way, and it's interesting because they spend a whole episode in them losing their way, because he's at the end of episode 5 you see him start the search. In episode 6 you see search get deeper and deeper and deeper, and them losing momentum. They're using the screen time to show them lose momentum. So this goes on for quite a long time, intercut with their stories. But by the end of it you can just see in the actual thing, they're done. That's them used up the reserves. They just can't quite go on again. So that's one part of the story that's really interesting. That's probably the best time in this story, because this was the bit where time this of Out One where I was most interested in this story. Before it all seemed to be the kind of slightly weaker part compared to the rest. And this one, when the other guy came in and shook it all up and then stole their money, that's when you start to see them, the more humanity. They weren't based in their parts. You were seeing them as people rather than what they're projecting through the parts, through the writing. Now they were like people, actual people beyond the parts. And because you spent so much time watching them, you did get invested in their plight. But you also said it was going nowhere, because some of them were invested, some of them weren't. And even then, I think some of them realised, even the founding guy, he might have used a bit of the money already. I mean, no one knows. So that was that part. The other theatre group is starting to adapt, because they brought the other woman in, and now she's like, there's much less of this theatre group, and their performances in this one, the first half of the Out One, they seem to dominate it. A lot of the performances dominated Out One, and now it's going away from that, and they've actually, you've seen them behind the scenes as well, like what's going on outside of the rehearsals. The rehearsals don't dominate much time, and they seem to be moving away from this central figure. And it's even mentioned towards the end of the episode 6 that they're doing Prometheus and they've lost interest in Prometheus, and they're just doing all these group things that seem to have lost all direction. Like before there was like a story to what they were doing, and now there seems to be none. It's almost like bring this other person in, instead of like galvanising them, it seems to have made them lose their momentum, and they're going nowhere very slowly, and they're becoming much more what the other group was, and it's just becoming this weird mess. And the guy Quentin from the other group, because everyone knows each other, you start to realise how much everyone knows each other. He seems to have joined their group now, and it's not a good omen at all. So that's going on, but you're seeing Thomas a lot more now, and Sarah is a woman he brought in, and she's the influence that's pulled Prometheus out of the actual play, and he's much more interested in her. He's much more interested in his old life. Thomas is much more interested in his old life. Now he's becoming much more the central figure, and you get the sense that he's just he started something, but he's not really into it anymore. He's trying his best, but he's just it's just not working for him anymore. And in the actual film, it's moving on from that sense of acting now to a sense of people acting in their lives, and how truthful are they, do they have other agendas, and it's moving from performance in a play that's been set down to performance in life, and conspiracy theories where people are actually talking about each other and try to work out what that person's about. And sometimes it goes towards conspiracy theories, sometimes it goes towards nostalgia, but it's always people trying to invent a reality, the way you would invent a reality from a play to try and deliver some emotional truth. Now it becomes delivering something in life to try and make sense out of life. It's a different feeling to it, but it's also through the conspiracy theories that start to evolve through in the story. That's becoming the passion of the film and of the participants, and it's really interesting watching them trying to make sense of life as life just seems to go crazy all around them. Okay, next you've got Frederica, who was the woman who was the con artist who stole these letters from the guy to do the chess game. She's now moved on to come. Initially I thought she had been upset as she had a different plan, but it turns out she just stole the letters, not knowing what they were, but suddenly realised they were something you could make money out of, and then she became obsessed by them. I thought this was a long play, and it turns out it wasn't. But it's kind of the idea of someone who is floating in life, suddenly gets obsessed with something, like where does power come from? How do groups organise? How do these rich people get together? And now she's starting to see the power dynamics between these richer people with money. She tries to sell the letters back to them because it involves them. Some of them take the bait, some of them say, no, I'm not going to bother, I don't care what you do with the letters. Other ones say, no, I'll buy the letters back from you. But as she goes through different people, you see her becoming obsessed. She becomes obsessed by the idea of what this group, who are they, what they're about, and is there a space in this kind of group for me? Like, how do you get involved with groups? How do you get ahead in the world? Because these people seem much more organised than she is, and her friends aren't organised, so she's kind of someone who's floating and still seems depressed, but it seems to have given her a mission, something to obsess over. Just the same way as after those actors lost the money, for a while they get obsessed over finding the guy, and it helped them for a short time, but at some point they had to realise they'd lost the money and they'd lost their place, they'd lost where they were going with their group. So she's finding that enjoyment of the conspiracy and what these people are about and why are they doing this, and she's trying to work out their motivation and where her life can possibly go. But again, it's still very floaty, just like she seemed suicidal and immature in the last episode. Even she's doing this, like sending the letters back. One of them says, you're not very good at this, you're not very smart, are you? And she comes across like a child a lot of the time, even if she's manipulating people to get information from them and trying to see who they are and introducing herself to people to suggest she knows more than she does. They kind of toy with her a little bit, but they seem to enjoy her presence. And it turns out the guy she stole the letters from was one of the people in the group, because he meets up with Thomas, the guy from the theatre group later on, and he doesn't seem to have bothered by losing the letters. He doesn't really care. When she tries to afford him to sell the letters back to him, he doesn't see when people don't care. And it turns out Thomas, when he talks to this guy, Thomas is starting to get bored, and Thomas wants to move on and maybe reform this group of people who were connected in the past, and it's almost like he's finding the theatre group lacking. So you're starting to see all these people float around, and you're starting to see all these motivations of all these different figures. I'll go to Colin, who originally we thought was deaf and dumb, and it turns out he wasn't. Again, he remains really fascinating because he has joined this shop from the last one. Now you can see he's starting to become obsessed by Pauline, who's the person in charge of the shop, who it turns out was the woman. I wasn't sure if it's the same woman who was Thompson visited when shop it was. So everyone's starting to get connected, everyone's starting to see all these people have a past with each other, and they all know each other. And he's starting to become attracted to her, but he's also, there's a suggestion here that he's very immature in that area and he doesn't quite get it in the same way that most other mature grown-ups do. And but he's attracted to her and he's professed his love to her, and she just brushes him off as if it's nothing. Because she's a family, and the suggestion is she's got a housekeeper who might be someone closer than that. So she might not even be interested in what he's got to offer. It keeps it ambiguous. The film keeps all the relationships ambiguous to what they're about. And he's becoming more and more obsessed. He's more and more trying to work it out because he feels he's getting closer to the conspiracy of the 13. But as he gets closer, the people from the 13 are watching him think, what's this guy about? It's like, because for him, it's something amazing, weird conspiracy to work out. And for them, it's just their lives, and they're thinking, is he working for someone else against us? Is he a force for someone else? They can't work out who he is and what he's about. So you see the conspiracy coming from both sides. You've seen the conspiracy, what he's feeling, what he thinks of them, but he doesn't know the exact truth of them. And they're seeing him and thinking, is he part of another conspiracy that we don't know about? And so you start to see how the conspiracy theories double up, and a lot of conspiracies are basically people seeing other people and wondering what they're about and what's their motivations, and you see how it kind of rolls into paranoia and craziness. And as the story progresses through all these different stories of them trying to find them, just people losing their mind trying to find it, this guy Thomas still doing his play, the girl tracks down the letters, and then try to work out what Thomas is about, try to work out what Colin's about. You start to get the feeling at that point that none of the conspiracies are true, that actually maybe there wasn't a conspiracy, maybe everyone's just doubling up in different conspiracy theories and no one's got the reality. And then suddenly it switches to suggest, no, there was a 13. These people were connected in the past. So when Thomas meets up the guy who played chess, suddenly that confirms, oh, there's something there. And then when Lily visits Pauline, who runs a shop, and suddenly they end up killing a guy into the shop and putting his body downstairs. So this is why I thought that one of the theatre groups were below the shop, because there's someone below the shop, and I saw Lily come up from there before. I assumed she's coming from a group, it turns out no, it's just a cellar. And that's where they hide the body, and they call someone to go and get the body. And then when they open stuff up, there's all these boxes and things down there, and Lily puts all this money, and it's like, well, you obviously have access to money, but you can't actually put in the play. So what's going on there? And obviously you have access to a lot of people with money, so you're never quite sure how much she's telling the truth, how much she's lying. And this is wonderful, because you're still not got a lot of answers. You're still getting you're still trying to work out everybody, and you're working them out the same way they're trying to work out each other and work out what the other person's about, and you're starting to get a sense of this is how conspiracies work, and how people's madness affects other people, and how people will wonder, is this crazy, or is this something suspect going on? And a lot of times it's them crazy. So you see signs of like Colin and the guy Quentin, they're both kind of nuts. They have all these weird habits that aren't rational. Like Colin's trying to work out who the 13 are through like literature and think of it in literature, and he's using fate to push him forward, and he always seems to be going towards the right place. So it's almost like fate's pushed him there, and he's causing havoc for these 13, but he's also re-energising them. So until he came around, they were all kind of split apart and not really talking to each other, and now they're suddenly talking, and then this other girl, Frederick's come in, and she's caused problems for them, and tried to send them letters back, and reading those letters have brought up a lot of old wounds in them, but they're suddenly interested in things, and suddenly there's violence occurring, and at one point Thomas, his lover, and Sarah, who's one of the other 13, have a three-way. which is just, it's almost like they're getting encouraged by their, we don't see any of this by the way, it's just hinted, but it's almost like they're getting brought back to life by the conspiracies and by the attention they're receiving, and they're escaping their boring lives by there's people interested in them, even though they know it could be dangerous, but you don't know why it could be dangerous, you don't know what their history actually was. There's a lot of conspiracy going on, there's a lot of strangeness there. So I've only 2 episodes left, and I'm actually hoping that not much is explained. I actually prefer watching a conspiracy and try to work out and seeing what people are about and how they present themselves. I think that's the human part of the story, and how conspiracies unravel and how people get the wrong idea. That's what's far more interesting than anything that could be explained. I don't think anything will be explained. I think it's all about how people invent themselves, either through art, through business, like because some of the people in the 13 are businessmen who have much interest in arts, and that's how they present themselves and invent themselves. And it's becoming about how people are, how people interact, and how people mess up, and how people have many sides to each other. I mean, Pauline, for the first major parts of the story, you thought she was like this sort of communist, and then turns out she's money and she bought the place. And then towards the end of this episode, it turns out she said, this is not a very good front for us. So it feels that everything she's been doing is a total front for something else, but you're not quite sure what it is, and if it's anything important. Then she kills a guy, and it's like, what the hell is going on? But I don't really want the mystery solved. I'm much more interested in seeing the people and what they're about, and seeing the various elements of the character. Because you actually just see different elements of people's character as they go through these stories, and nothing's put down pat. Like, Thomas is a bit of a scumbag as the guy who runs one of the theatre groups, but he's also interesting and pretentious, and just the way a person at arts would be. But there's also a side to him that does have links to these businessmen who might have some dodgy dealings, and some of his friends are now seeming to be dealing with the underworld, and it's, which is like Pauline and Lily, and Lily suddenly went from being this woman who seems to have an affair to suddenly someone who's on the run. She just disappears from everybody at the end. Like one of the reasons why the theatre falls apart, she just leaves. Because after the guy gets killed, suddenly it's like, well, what the hell is going on here? And there's other people in the 13 you only briefly see, but you can tell that they're important. And it's just wonderful. Just try to work it all out is wonderful, but it's a very strange thing. You know, I still haven't seen the full thing. I still don't know the full film yet. I've seen 3/4 of it now. It's terrific. The more you see, the more you're interested in seeing more. But it hasn't revealed itself at all yet. But that's what's really cool. Just watching it and watching the characters at work and watching what they're doing. And the more you find out about it, the more you get interested. It's all about obsession and the target of obsession. But normally in most films you see a target of obsession, you don't know that much about them because you've only ever seen them from the point of view of the person watching them. And this one, because it's going back and forth between people, you're seeing everyone's point of view, and you're seeing why someone's obsessed with somebody, but you've also seen why the other person couldn't care less. You know, it's like nothing to them, they've got their own lives, and it's like, what the hell is this person about? What are they doing? You know, it's really funny in that way, but it's also supposed to be, it's a need for obsession, but also the fact that in the real life most people don't care. It's like, it's just stuff in your head. But it also understands the need to create meaning out of your life, even if it is a fiction in your life or a fiction you're performing. It's something. And so it's like an existential way out of a trap of, does my life have meaning? And this film seems to be like, no, it doesn't really, but you can create something for yourself to keep yourself going. And it seems like without the 13, a lot of these people who were in it before, their lives seem to be dull. They seem to have lost the spark that made them interested. And as soon as they get interested again, as soon as there's some threat to them, it suddenly makes their lives much more intriguing. Suddenly they're much more intrigued by the past and moving forward in with 13. It seems at this point. That could change entirely every time I get to the next episode. But that's where I am just now. So I hope you enjoyed it. That's episodes 5 and 6 as I go through out one. That's my impressions of what the series is at the moment. So each one, you'll see my impressions as I go, and you can see how they change over time and how I get things wrong. So I hope that's interesting to you in that way. But I'll be back soon with the final 2 episodes and a final overall view of the series. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back soon. Bye bye.